All right, welcome back to another video for this portfolio for different covering different topics on cybersecurity. Today, well, actually, before I get into today, thank you if you watched the last video where we configure some endpoint security. Shouldn't fix this, but this video is actually going to be about configuring advanced and authentication and authorization. I've done a video, I believe I mentioned this at the end of the last video, but I've done a video on this before, but I wanted to reiterate my skills just a bit more. So I'm doing another alternate version of this, a little bit more in depth for this. So let's actually go ahead and get started. We're actually going to add the DNS IP address and then actually we're going to add it here and then we're going to do a few other things. So let's actually start with the PowerShell. Let's see. Of course, naturally, we need some commands. And that's, of course, yep, there we go. For Ethernet, and it's going to be static normally, right? Nature of what is. All right, so what this does is just submit set the IP I have here in 0.1, right, as the DNS server for this server for SA01, right? So the given IP address, it just refers to DC01, right? The DNS on the practice lab domain, at least for this one. So migrating the server to the DNS server just facilitates its integration into the practice lab domain. So we can actually now install the policy network server. So let's do that with, let's see, Windows feature network policy server. There it is. Right. Perfect. For load here. Yep, there we go. Should be done in a moment. All right. So as we can see, we have a successful install. So now we get to configure the network policy service. So now we get to configure to accept the connections from the NPS client, right? So just going to configure this. So at the NPS client to the NPS server. So let's actually bring this down. Now let's go here to the network policy server, right? Is it going to open for me? There it is, my guy. Do that here. I love things opened up. So open this guy up. All right. Let's see. See here. Actually, let me put here first. All right, perfect. So let's actually do this. Let's do that. All right, perfect. So let's name this naturally, right? And no, to yeah, that was gonna be better. Perfect. And then let's and it looks about right. All right, perfect. So just gonna verify this here resolve. Yep, now it's added. Click OK. Perfect. So now we're back on the new radius here. There it is. That's my guy. How you doing, buddy? All right, perfect. So now actually let me go back. Let me go back here. Take a look at the advanced tab, right? So let's actually click that. Let's hit apply. Get out of here. I knew something I was missing. All right. So now on the radius box, we can notice that this has appeared, which we already did, right? And the status is enabled. So now we're going to configure the network policy service log or server log rather. So now we're just going to configure the properties of the network service server of the network policy server counting logs for SA01 for that device. So the logs is going to present, of course, important information, right, about the authentication of the users who sign in on the network. So let's go to accounting here. And properties. All right, still not here. All right, So our format is actually going to be changed to IAS. It'll let me click it. I want to create one daily. All right, perfect. And hit apply. Okay. All right, so now we're able to install and configure the remote access server, or the RAS, I like to call it, right? So, now let's first prepare the VPN surface. I'm sorry, the interface. I'm a bit, I'm a bit sleepy, sick, I think, not sure. But nonetheless, let's actually connect to DMO2. Um, we've already spoken for it on a few other settings. Let's actually speak directly with it. So let's actually open up PowerShell naturally, right? So let's do this. I can so right. Um, static. Okay. All right. So the second interface is going to actually act as a VPN server public interface, which will receive incoming connections from the VPN client. So actually, we're going to enter in another command prompt. Here, somewhat similar, right, to the last one, at least the beginning portion. One, where are we? Where are we? That's right. Not one, two, perfect. Okay, there we go. Perfect. We're good to go. Now we can install the remote access service to enable the VPN connection, right? It has to be installed. So let's actually add, mm, there we go. Include management tool. Perfect. So the install is currently in progress, and of course, we'll naturally receive a um, successful install. So naturally, as I mentioned, we have successful install, so we're good to go for the next task. All right, perfect. So let's actually go to remote access management. Perfect. So go here. Perfect. So now we can see the details. Now let's run remote access. And naturally, we want to deploy VPN only, right? This up. Yeah, this is the fun part. All right, so let's actually let me expand this. I also want to point out the red arrow pointing at the bottom, so nothing's really going on right now, at least on nothing that we like. So let's actually configure it so we can enable it so we can get the green arrow. Perfect. So let's actually leave it at remote access, right? And then the VPN, naturally, remember earlier, and we only want the Ethernet 2, right? Let's see, we want to get rid of that automatically. No, because we want to configure it to something specific. All right, and that specific, right, is going to be, we want it to be, there we go, 21. That means it's good to go. All right, so let's hit next. And we want a yes. Perfect. So the primary radius server is going to be, which is where we started, right? That would make sense. And naturally the password. that we had earlier. Perfect. Finish. I'll configure it. Okay, I'm just waiting to take just a few moments to finish. All right, so it has finished, and as we can see, the green arrow is now facing up, so things are going the way we'd like. So we're good to go there. So now we can configure the authentication and accounting provider. So after initializing the remote access service, we actually need to configure the authentication and accounting providers on the VPN server. So the authenticator provider it indicates whether indicates windows or radius will be used for validating the credentials for remote access, right? So let's actually go here, take a look at our properties. We're doing this, all right? And security tab. And let's take a look here. All right, perfect. And let's actually take a look at editing this. All right, so always use this. We like to be notified, right? Come on. There we go. Accounting provider. All right, of course, we want to edit. And for this one, we want to send the radius. Again, we like to be notified. So now we can save the changes. Go. All right, perfect. So let's take a look at the, actually, you know what? Let's get out of there. So now we're just going to configure the VPN ports. So we're just going to enable the VPN ports for DMO2 for the incoming dial-in access. So I also want to recall that DMO2 is now configured as the VPN server for the practice lab domain, as I mentioned not so long ago. So to configure them, let's actually, let's see. Here, right? There we go. No, there it is. All right, perfect. That's not, okay, perfect. So now let's take a look at TPTP, because it's a route and a routing, the 128, right? So let's configure that. So for the phone number, let's do, right, perfect. And let's see, here I'm just reading this. All right, we can actually pick that up. All right, and the maximum, that's fine, let's apply. All right, perfect, so we're good here. All right, so actually, you know what? There we go. I'm not the same here. Okay, apply naturally, right? Click OK here. So now we're just going to specify the VPN adapter. So we're just going to specify from which the dial-in clients can obtain the VPN address. So let's actually click here, properties, and let's take a look at a few things, right? So let's go with the version 4, right? And the, yeah, that's good. All right, and I'm choosing this as far as the adapter because the Ethernet 2 is configured as the VPN interface for the DMO2 server. So therefore, the dial-up clients access the interface to obtain the relevant IP address to set up the VPN connection, right? So everything else actually looks pretty good. But now I'm just going to just grant the VPN dial-in permission, right? So to do this, I have to enable a user, right, to set up the VPN connection. So I must grant the user permission naturally, right, to dial into the VPN. So I'm just going to have to dial in permission to the administrator right to DCO1. So actually, let me go there. Here, my server, tighten up. All right, perfect. Users. Need you to be lightning fast. Go. All right, perfect. Next is go here, here, here. Right. Network access permission naturally. Right, we want to allow. That's what I just said. Right, so now I'm just going to click here. All right, perfect. So now we can configure the VPN client, right? So after installing and configuring the routing and remote access, right, for DMO2, prepare a Windows OS client to dial into the VPN server. So let's actually swivel over here. Like we're all over the place, right? Let's this here. It lets me. Let's do that. Perfect. That's this quick. Perfect. There's so many different ways to do stuff. All right, so let's do this here. Same command I used. This is the third time, I believe, if I remember correctly. Actually, and of course, we want it to be static. Perfect. All right, so this just that's a static IP address on the Ethernet 2 network interface. So now to see the Ethernet 2 use the DCL1 as the preferred DNS server, going to the perfect. All right, so while it's taking its time now, it looks like I just want to make sure I have everything. Yeah, feels good. All right, so now I'm just going to create the VPN client dialer. So let's actually close this out, close this out, and then be up here. All right, so set up new connection, and of course you want to click right here, right? All right, so now how do you want to connect, right? We want to use my internet connection through VPN, right? So the internet address naturally, I've just used, come on, come on. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, now remember my credentials, that's good. We can actually allow other people to use it, so we can going to create so we can get that connection. All right, very good. Then we should get a menu populated here. There we go. Thank you, menu. All right, so we can actually click out of that. Then let's change the adapter set, right? So let's actually right click here. Actually, no, before we do that, let's take a look at some properties. Naturally, right? Let's take a look at some security. We want to allow these protocols, right? And let's see, networking, IPv4, good. Let's take a look at those properties there. All right, so let's see. I want to get deep. I want to get deep. All right. We don't want to use the default gateway. We're good here. Okay, good. Perfect. All right, so let's do that. And naturally, we want to connect. Oh, it's already connected. How you doing? All right, so connect here actually, the one that we created. Right, so let's do, right, and then naturally, Come on, come on. Yeah. All right, so now that we've gotten that connected, we can actually view the NPS logs, right? So whenever Windows OS connects to a VPN server, whether it be a successful or a failed login, we can actually view the details of the VPN connection by reading the logs using the third-party reader usually. So let's actually swivel over here and let me close this out. Close that out. Let's take a look here. All right. Look here. Okay. Here. Actually, let me refresh. Not here. Definitely not here. All right, so let's actually do this. Well, you know what? Let's see, it might be. Let's check one more time. No. Oh, frustrated. All right, let's figure this out. We're gonna fix this. All right, so I was able to finally locate it, so we can actually open this up here, right? And now we see that in a notepad, it just displays an NPS log file, right? So the log file just contains entries that, I kind of won't understand. So let me go ahead and so I kind of, I mean, most people folks won't understand this. For this reason, I'll need an NPS log reader to understand the contents of the log file. So I can actually show a little bit of that. Sure. But nonetheless, it just goes, as far as the format log files, as far as what things mean, as far as any additional information. Nothing part of the lab is just something I wanted to, to go over as far as being able to break that down. Nonetheless, we can install tools to read the NPS log if you don't want to go to a website or if you prefer a better GUI. So you need software tools, of course, like NPS Log Reader or IAS Viewer to really understand them, these NPS logs. So we can actually download them and install them now. So let's actually, it's not open. All right. All right, let's see. Over here. I'm looking for IE Enhanced Security. There it is. All right, perfected. All right, so it's off. Then that's good. All right, so how do we have the dialog box here displayed? Just gonna make sure everything is off. just gonna click OK. So I just wanted to make sure those were good, because then they would have gotten in the way of us downloading those tools. So let's reopen this back up. All right. And let's see, actually, here, see, we should have them on here. Let's see, correctly. Take that. There. Yeah. All right. And of course, perfect. All right, so we can actually do this stuff here. Super quick. All right, perfect. So now let's actually get out of this. All right, perfect. So now we can see this here. So now we can read the log, right? All right. And actually, see, perfect. All right, so now we can actually take a look at the contents of the log, right? Um, we can see a couple of different things in the properties, right? As far as support type, output package, station ID, just different things, right? Let's see, actually, we could take another route to get there. You can double click or right click. It's totally up to you, right? And you can actually be able to look at the book another way with the properties, but that's fine. But nonetheless, we can actually just take a look here and take a look at the details here. Pretty much same concept, right? Just this particular log that we're looking at versus the entire thing, right? Just the details there, nothing special, right? But we can export the NPS template. So if there's more one NPS on the network, right, we could create files with similar formats across the servers. So we could export templates from one server to another. So I'm actually going to, let's see, reopen this. All right, perfect. So let's see here. There is, let's see, perfect. Um, save it on so look at this. Not this much out there, and I got to search for it. All right, so let's see. Let's see in there. Perfect. Oh, well, let's see. I mean, you can't open it like that technically, but you can actually. Looks like I saved it incorrectly. Actually, do this. No, okay, that's fine. Yep. Let's see. That's gonna be close to fresh. There it is. Perfect. So now we can see everything with the raw data, right? Just the details of the storage template, right? We can use this file to create more files, right? That's the same template as well. Nonetheless, this brings us to the end of the video for configuring advanced authentication and authorization. The video was so much fun. Just for a brief recap of everything that we went over, we installed and configured the network policy server, we installed and configured the remote access server, we configured the VPN client, and we also viewed a few NPS logs. Now for our next video, we're going to do is some encryption and hashing, which is going to be even more fun. And I hope to see you there at the next video. Stay curious, stay secure.